everyone wants to draw like this, and like this. Well, so did I. I run my own design company, I paint, I do graphic design. I should be able to do this, right?
How about no?
Turns out you'll need a lot more skills than just drawing to create a comic strip. My characters were very uninteresting. The pose wasn't looking good. I had no idea how to draw a background, and I was even worse at coloring them. It took me about 2 years of practicing different skill sets that are needed to create your own comic. And here are 7 things I had to learn and practice before I could create my own first comic strip. Let's begin. Step number 1 is story. This may be quite obvious for creating a comic, but a lot of us skip this step and go straight ahead to draw. When you do that, you don't have an idea of how to begin, as in what's the first panel is going to look like, what kind of shot is it going to have, is it going to have a close-up shot or an establishing shot. So before even I could begin drawing my own comic, I had to learn how to write a simple story which has a beginning, middle and end. By doing so, I had a clear idea on how to structure my pages and what kind of poses my character is going to have. If you want to learn how to write your own story, I would highly suggest looking at Studio Binder's YouTube channel. They have a number of videos on how to structure your story, the key element that needs in it, and how you should portray your character. I'll leave a link to the channel below down in the description. Once you have your story set, next up is character design. Now that your story is set, you would have a basic idea on what are the characters that are going to be in your story. Are they funny? Are they stoic? And how you should portray the character, and what kind of body language should they have. Since you're wanting to draw a comic, you'll have to draw the same character over and over again in different poses and expressions. So what you need to do before drawing your comic is to figure out what sort of expressions your character is going to have, and what sort of pose your character is going to have, and what should the audience feel when they look at your character. If you want to learn more about character design, I have a course on Gumroad where I explain step by step how to create this character and an expression sheet that you can use in your own comic. I'm running a New Year sale for this course, and the link and the offer code is down in the description below. If you're interested, do check out my course and share your designs through my Instagram page. Step number 3 is I had to practice how to draw hands. As important as the face is, the hands are equally important. You would have noticed a lot of people talk with their faces and their hands. They gesture a lot. A lot of emotion and expression can be drawn through your hands. Knowing the anatomy of how to draw hands is kind of crucial when you're drawing a comic where the character is going to be in all sorts of poses. You can see in this comic, which is about me, you can see in this image, as much as my face is important to convey the fact that I'm in pain, the hands are equally important. The fact that they are stretched that way shows that I'm in uncontrollable pain. Like the famous artist Norman Rockwell said, as long as you get the face and the hands right, you can get away with anything. So make sure you practice hands. It is definitely going to take your artwork to the next level. If you want to learn how to draw hands, I would suggest looking at videos from Proco and Cynix Design. I'll leave their videos in the description below too. Next up is composition. Now you're moving from character design to actually drawing a comic page. To begin that, one of the most important things you need to learn is composition. As in, how are you going to place your subjects with respect to your background, and how are you going to highlight what you want your audience to see. Learning composition will teach you how to place your subjects, how far should the subjects be, how much empty space there needs to be next to it. It's not a definitive subject, and it's something you get a handle on it the more you practice it. Learning about composition made my drawings a lot more cinematic. One of the videos that helped me begin to understand about composition is from Studio Binder. They have very good explanation on how film composition works. I believe you can take what they teach in that video and can be applied to your own comic design. And there are a lot more videos you can Google and find out. But to begin with, I would recommend seeing Studio Binder's film composition video. And like the previous ones, link in the description below. Once you've gotten familiarized yourself about composition, you're beginning to start thumbnailing, which is our next step. Thumbnail is one of the important steps for me. That is because I often, when I start an image, I'd like to see how good it looks once I'm finished drawing. Doing that way and for so many images takes a lot of time, and if it doesn't work out, you're usually not inclined to fix that and redo that again. Since you've already finished it, you would want to stick with what you've gotten. And often on the first try, it's not the best what you wanted to do. So I would recommend to begin scribbles and start thumbnailing something like this, where you just get an idea of how you want your images to be. In my case, I'm beginning with an establishing shot and we get down from the car. So rather than just figuring out how to do the perfect line art, what I'd like to do is get references, do a lot of scribbling, try to figure out how the page is going to work compositionally, try to get a good looking page structure. So by doing this, I have a good enough idea on how I should proceed next and how my images are going to be placed in the panel, how my characters are going to interact with each other. Doing this step definitely helps you speed up the process of finishing your comic, so I wouldn't recommend skipping this. The worst case is you would have spent a small amount of time doing some scribbles and you can always fix it pretty easily. And once you've done the thumbnailing, what I would recommend you do next is trying to figure out the perspective of your shot. Often when you're doing a rough sketch, a certain aspects needs to be realistic for the story to be conveyed in a proper way. So one of the important steps to show the depth in your image and how your characters are interacting, to do that you need to understand perspective and how you can convey that into your image. Let's take this image as an example. When you first look at it, it looks like a normal image. I'm playing with my kid and my wife is in shock looking at how I'm playing with my kid. So how the image is drawn is the camera is right over here. So all the section that is over here would be what you'll be looking straight ahead, and all the subjects over here is something you'll be looking up above, which is the worm's eye view, and all the subjects over here would be something you'll be looking down, which is the bird's eye view. Most drawing apps, or even you can do this even on paper, would have a drawing guide where you can set perspective. In this image, I have a 2-point perspective on almost on the middle horizon line. So in this image, as you can see, I have used 2-point perspective. From each of the points, I'm drawing diverging the lines, which shows this section is the floor and this section is the ceiling. So if I switch off the line art, you can see how the perspective grids are. So if I need to draw a box in this perspective, you won't be able to see the top or the bottom because the bottom is on the floor and the top is way too high, which you can't see. So if I have to draw a box, it would be, let me open a new layer. So all I'm doing is just following the lines. This is a tall building and the shot is pretty wide. So which is exactly what I'm trying to convey in this drawing. So in this image, the drawing is covered from head to toe and more. So in this perspective, you can see a lot of this image, so which needs a wide angle lens if you have to shoot with the camera. That's what I'm trying to go for in this image. So when I'm drawing my feet, the perspective should be I'm looking down at the feet, and when I'm drawing my son, it should be like I'm looking up above. These lines help me visualize how each object needs to be placed in the image so that it gives enough depth to make the scene look realistic. To learn more about perspective, I would recommend you checking out one of the videos from BAM Animation. They have very detailed explanation and I think you should definitely check that out. Now that we've seen composition, thumbnailing, and we know the layout of a comic, and we know how our characters are going to interact, the next steps would be cleanup and color. Once you've done all these steps, the cleanup would be one of the easiest steps you can do. In this video that I've taken of my comic, I'm just tracing over what I've scribbled before, trying to clean up the lines and figuring out how it works. Even my cleanups would look a little bit rough. I don't like my drawings to be too clean. A few organic shapes always makes it look a bit more better. Once I've cleaned up the lines, let's finish it with color. When it comes to coloring comics, there are very simple rules I follow. Unlike painting, where a single image needs to convey all that you're trying to express, comics are a bit more simpler. As in, let's look at this section as an example. The simple concept I followed for coloring is the main subjects are going to be warm colored and the background is going to be cool colored. Even the roads over here, I've chosen a cooler gray, and the background are obviously the colors are green and blue, hence making it a cool background. The concept here is your audience and everyone are usually gravitate towards the warmer section of any image. Making the subject warmer than the background makes the audience look at what you want to see them to see, if that makes sense. It's pretty straightforward. In this image, the subject on the conversation is warm in color, and the background, I did not want any distractions from the detail of the background, so I've just added very few details and kind of overlaid with the blue tone so that it completely moves back and all your attention is only on the subject and the conversation. And that's pretty much this concept I've followed all throughout this image. This video is a quick run through of the steps that I followed. If you want me to explain all of this in detail in separate videos, do let me know in the comments below. I'll be sure to do that. If you want to learn more about color, one of the YouTube channels you can look at is Color with Kurt. He's a comic book colorist. He's really good at it. I've learned a lot from his videos, and I think you can too. And like the previous steps, I'll be sure to link his channel in the description below so that you can check it out. Those are the steps that I took to draw these two images and tell a story from my personal life that I think is pretty funny, at least to me. If you want to check out this comic, I'll leave an Instagram link to this down in the descriptions below. You can go check it out. Hope this video was helpful for you. I know I ran through a lot of concepts that I learned over the years. If you'd like me to explain in detail in separate videos, be sure to let me know in the comments below. I'll be sure to make separate videos for them. And as always, thank you for watching. See you in the next one.